So, I went out there with the Eradicator once again. In today's crew, we had Drew Bogey, Deplorable Infidel, Shadow Rise, Race Guide, Hot Parker, and myself. We started at the Arbitrary above Bloom in the Pyro system, and from there we decided to venture into abandoned asteroid facilities where we would recover some stolen ships laden with cargo. These missions were part of the Beat Zero contracts, now available in Pyro, where you invest 13,000 of a UEC with a prospect of making much more if you can. So let's see how that played out. We started our session with a Polaris that spawned in the station's extra-large hangar, but this wouldn't be the only ship that we'd need. Since we were planning to recover cargo, we also needed a ship capable of transferring the containers. The best option that would eventually fit inside the hangar of our Polaris would be a MISC Hull A, which Race Guide happened to own. We hovered above the station, opened the hangar, and Ray was able to land without any issues. With the snub cargo ship secured on board, we set our course for the target asteroid cluster and made sure our stations were manned and ready to go. As expected, we were greeted by a few NPCs as we approached the station, and it was really nothing that the Polaris couldn't handle here. The real challenge came with dealing with the turrets guarding the base. There were 6 of them, strategically placed to make sure no one could get too close without taking heavy fire. We knew we had to be precise, carefully dismantling them one by one before they could start chewing through our shields. The front-mounted size 6 ballistic turrets of the Polaris proved invaluable for the job, tearing through the turrets with ease. The additional firepower from the other turrets of the ship helped speed up the process, and before long, we'd neutralized the threat, clearing the way for the real work ahead. Next, we had to send an infiltration team inside the station. I parked the Polaris as close as possible to the entrance, and our team EVA'd through the airlock. The station was eerily empty, save for a few half-naked junkie NPCs wandering aimlessly. We didn't waste any time on them and made a beeline straight for the hangar where things were about to get heated. As expected, the hangar was packed with NPCs and we had to clear them out before we could get to the ship. Once the area was secured, we waited for the signal of the Polaris to open the hangar. The plan was simple here. With a freelancer loaded and ready to go, the Polaris would cover it. The idea was that any hostile ships would be hit by the Polaris first, taking the brunt of the damage before they could even touch the freelancer or its cargo. We then got the signal to move out and slowly started to back away from the asteroid base, keeping a safe distance while staying out of detection range. But not long after, a couple of hostile NPCs began to follow us. That meant that it was time to take them out. We handled them quickly, and once the threat was neutralized, the next step was to transfer the cargo from the freelancer to our Hull A. The reason we proceeded with the transfer was simple. The stolen ships from this mission are known to despawn if they jump into Quantum, and we wanted to make sure that this did not happen. That meant getting the cargo off the freelancer and onto our Hull A as quickly as possible, while everything else was still running smoothly. The transfer itself was incredibly immersive. Watching the team work together, each person taking their specific role, felt like a well-choreographed dance. There was no hesitation, no confusion, just pure teamwork, everyone contributing towards our shared goal. And that, right there, is what makes Star Citizen so special, in my eyes. It's not just about the ships, the loot, or the combat. It's about moments like these when you are working with a crew to overcome challenges, making the entire experience come alive in ways you can't find anywhere else in the gaming industry. Once the transfer was complete, Race Guide took the Hull A back to the Arbitrary to unload, while the rest of us set course for the next mission. The plan wasn't going to change that much, we would just repeat the same process, and once again we had to neutralize the turrets and then send the infiltration team inside the station. After clearing the area, we moved the ship near the hangar and got onto position to provide cover, and we just made sure to stay about 30 kilometers away from the station as we prepped for the extraction. By the time we came to a halt, Race Guide had already joined us back with his hull A, ready for the next cargo transfer. This time though, things went even smoother. We had a bit more experience under our belts, so we were able to coordinate the entire process more efficiently. The crew knew their roles and the teamwork was seamless. As you can see in the footage, it was practically flawless, proving just how far we'd come from the first mission. Of course, we could have tackled a third mission, but some of us had to head out, so we decided to wrap things up for the day. We made our way back to the Orbitary, where we grabbed a Constellation Taurus to load everything we had collected so far. Once that was taken care of, it was time to find out the best place to sell our hull. We had two commodities on board, steams and gold. So after a quick check, we found out that Area 18 on ArcCorp offered the best prices for both, so we plotted a course and headed out. The TDD offered us 378,000 alpha UEC for the entire load. Of course, it wasn't a huge payout when you divide it by 6, but we still made some solid money together. More importantly, we ended the day with a sense of accomplishment, knowing we worked as a team to achieve a common goal. That's what Star Citizen is really about, creating those moments where you and your crew come together, tackle challenges, and walk away with more than just credits. It's the shared experience, the teamwork, and the adventure that make it all so memorable. And so, that's a wrap for today's adventure with the Erad Club. From clearing turrets to transferring cargo and working as a team, it was another fantastic example of what makes Star Citizen so special. If you enjoyed the journey and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, or if you've had any similar experiences in the game. And don't forget that we're giving away a Misfortune this month, so make sure that you entered by subscribing and commenting to any videos posted this month. 10 entries will put into the wheel of names like this, automatic entries for Patreon and YouTube members. A big shout out to Dr. Fabinto, Cartarsisius, Ducky to Ducker, Shutter Rise, and Zero Crusher. I have been Erad, and I'll see you guys in the next one.